basketball fans, welcome into the belly of the beast that is the Air Canada Centre. I'm Akil Augustine, and this is Canada's home for talking hoops, the Hangout. Today's episode, a very special one, our second ever business of basketball episode. So we have our business minds on the couch, starting at George Brown College sports marketing professor Peter Widdis. Your second time on the show. You are the sports marketing, actually the business of basketball episode guy now, so welcome to the family.
Thank you for having me back.
All right, and a huge contributor to everything that myself and Dwayne do in basketball. A big fan of basketball in the city, and also the athletic director for the Ryerson Rams. Big it up for Dr. Ivan Joseph. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And another guy doing big things, of course, with his entire family, a member of the Tipping Tribe, working with the BioSteel game, which is on April 11th at the Gold Ring Center, and also the president of Athletes Institute out in Orangeville, Jesse Tipping.
Happy to be here.
You're our James Harden.
Well,
Fear the deer. Well, we won't fear you, though. But let's get into it. We have a topic. It's the business of basketball. Toronto hosted the very last All-Star game. What a weekend for the metropolitan Toronto area. Up next, the city of Charlotte in North Carolina. But there's a little bit of debate going on because there is a controversial law that was recently passed in the state legislature which bans the city of Charlotte from passing any laws that would protect the rights of gay or transgendered persons. Here's the question off the top of the bat, Peter Widdis. Should the NBA move the 2016-17 All-Star Game from Charlotte?
So, what a great question to kick the show off with. I
The only
couldn't
one we
imagine
can
an
think of.
easier topic.
quick transition.
So first and foremost, I think we're all hoping an evolution takes place
Yes.
and that there is some rectification or amendment to the law. But having said that, if things don't change, absolutely. They should pull it. The NBA, one of the core values that we talk about in class of a league of that stature, global brand, real leader in the community and at a national level and globally, is inclusivity.
So Ivan, are you in agreement? You feel they should move the game at this point in time?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's nice to see Adam Silver. He's starting to take some stands on some moral issues for the NBA. You saw him last year do it with the Clippers, or 2 years ago with all that debacle, and for him to be saying this is what the league's about is it's a nice testament to what a global brand should be doing.
Jesse Tipping, yay or nay? Move it.
I think they should. I mean, a company that big who stands, as you guys say, around the world, or a global brand, they can't succeed in a place like that. They just can't do something right.
Okay, so now that we all agree, yes, they should move it. Will they move it? How likely do you think the league will try to force the hand of the state of North Carolina? Jesse, I'll start with you.
I actually think they will move it.
Yeah.
I think that it's a consistently growing issue that people aren't ignoring anymore with the amount of social media and the impact of it. So I think they will move it because the NBA is at a really great growth point right now, and I think that it'll be a good look for them to be able to take a stand where others haven't. So I actually think they will.
All right, I'm going to go to Peter because I got a different question for you, Ivan. But do you think the NBA will make that move and pull the trigger on it?
If things don't change, yeah.
Absolutely.
It was funny, we talked about it in class actually today and discussed the issue immensely. And one of the interesting things the conclusions we all came to is the fact that the NBA is a cultural icon. It's a leader. We look up to those individuals to take leadership in the community, and certainly they're bigger than this issue, and they can force the hand.
Okay, now quickly, something that I gleaned in reading about it that I want to make sure is clear. The city of Charlotte did the right thing by passing a law to protect certain people in their community. It was the state legislature that stepped in. And the funny thing is, it's the city of Charlotte that's going to end up being penalized because of the state's decision. But I want to ask you, Ivan, if they do move it, was this the result of the power of sports or the power of the dollar in sense?
They won't move it.
No. I should ask you then. Okay.
I'm going to say they're not going to have enough bravery to move it.
Finally, some dissension amongst the crowd. Okay, I'm with you.
They're not going to have enough bravery to move it.
They're not going to have enough bravery.
No.
Adam Silver, you've been called out by Dr. Ivan Joseph.
Something similar happened a couple years ago in Indiana, right? When there was something happening.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, did they move it?
Nope.
No. This is the exact same thing happening and playing out again. It takes a lot of courage, and you can see it in even the fact, listening to Steph Curry, great person, but he's neutral. He's not taking a stand. And until the players who really control that NBA move and say this isn't right and we're not going to go, only then will the NBA be forced.
And I hate having well-educated, well-thought-out people on the show because then they steal all my lines. Because I was going to go and allude to what Steph Curry said, but we might as well put the man on the spot. He is the hottest player in the NBA right now, and his words count for a lot. He is a native of North Carolina, too. So here's a statement that you were referring to, Dr. Ivan Joseph, and it was Steph Curry post-practice earlier this week stating that hopefully the right things need to happen for the All-Star game to stay in Charlotte because that would be huge for the city. Being from there, it's a chance to show what Charlotte is all about, regardless of where you fall with that law. Now, there's the sentence that I think people are going to highlight and pull out, regardless of where you fall with that law. Can we be regardless, Peter Widdis, of where we fall with that law?
So I'm going to politely disagree with the doctor
Sorry.
on the scenario.
Don't do anything politely on this show. Throw that out the window.
Fisticuffs.
So here's the scenario. We're looking at roughly a year out,
Yes.
right? So yes, when the Final Four was in Indiana and there was an issue there, it kind of emerged just by the sheer act of legislation going through a few weeks before the event took place. In this case, we're looking at a year. So there's a lot of time for things to evolve.
But it's also a year. It's tough to change the location of an all-star game with the amount of logistics that go into it.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Like from an execution perspective, would not be easy, but it'd be interesting to see them force the hand. And certainly, just from my private sector experience, you can move things pretty fast if you're working in complement to a government to move issues through. So, that's a big revenue driver for that city. That's a big revenue driver for the state. It'd be interesting to see what happens.
Jesse, you deal with young players all the time. I want you to give me your opinion on the fact that Steph Curry didn't really make a stand in that statement. Do you think a player will, or do you think this is the right situation scenario for one of these players? Because the NBA has always fought, for women's rights. We've got women coaches now, for African Americans' rights, but kind of fell behind with the LGBT issue. Do you feel this league's ready to embrace that, or maybe the players are ready to talk about it?
I think they are. I think Steph saying anything is, the first step at taking a stand.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of players and a lot of kids don't really realize that their voice actually does matter and what they say actually has an impact on the people around them. That's one thing that we always try to tell our players is that people are watching. You don't think that they're watching, but people are listening to what you say. They're watching. So I think the fact that NBA players really do control a lot of, the environment of the NBA.
Yep.
If they stand up and they start saying something on we're not going to play there or this isn't right, it snowballs.
Yes.
I mean, they've got millions and millions of followers.
The power's with the people.
And that's the thing with, today's society is that our celebrities, our athletes, those people actually, their political views and their religious views and their personal views matter.
They're as much politicians as a politician.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, and on that note, we got to go to break because we got so much more to talk about here on the second ever Business of Basketball episode on the Hangout, Canada's home for Talking Hoops. And send a shout out to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, because Klay Thompson's got a lot of faith in Steph Curry. Running away before the kid shoots the ball, celebrating, clapping. Y'all better focus. Hopefully you make history. We'll be back with more Hangout.